Vic brought it to my attention that this is not working. Is that correct? All right, I will go to this then. So we have a number of announcements today. And I'm going to start by recognizing someone who couldn't be here, but received in conjunction with our World Peace theme today. Dr. Bobby Wakamala was awarded Peacemaker of the Year this past Saturday at the Genesee County Committee for Community Peace. They do this wonderful ceremony and celebration every year. The Peace Park in Wilson Park and at the University of Michigan Flint. And when you see Bobby, give him a pat on the back. And I'd like Amy to come up. Is that one more?
Thank you. So keeping in line with the exceptional Rotarians that belong to our club, I am really pleased to announce and probably embarrassed our own Dr. Raymond Gist, who will be awarded the Clement A. Alford Humanitarian Award at our upcoming Art of Philanthropy. So that is awarded to a recipient who works quietly behind the scenes, does not look for public recognition, is not seeking political gain for the work that they do, has done good and valued work over a period of years, long into their career. It provides broad health education to the public in the Flint area, and Genesee County is better off for their contributions. So join me in congratulating Dr. If you would like to join the event, it's free to the public, so it's going to be next Friday at the FIA, and then I have postcards here for anybody that's interested, and you can just give me your RSVP. So thank you.
Thank you, Amy, and thank you, Ray, for your service. Yeah, we have a big event coming up in the world, Rotary world, and we'd like Rob to share.
Hello, good afternoon. So it's been a while since I've been up here, kind of nervous. Rodeo, you know, I've been reading this so much, it's like, I want to say rodeo, but if I say that, you know what I mean? Just Rotary, Polio Plus, and World Polio Day are two interconnected aspects of the global effort to eradicate polio, a crippling and potentially deadly disease caused by the polio virus. Rotary Polio Plus is a program initiated by Rotary International, one of the world's largest service organizations, with a mission to eradicate polio worldwide. Since its inception in 1985, Polio Plus has been at the forefront of the fight against polio, working in collaboration with various partners, including the World Health Organization, UNICEF, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and governments around the world. Polio Plus primarily focuses on immunization campaigns, public awareness, and fundraising to support the global polio eradication initiative. Rotary did it already. Rotary clubs and volunteers across the globe have played a pivotal role in raising funds, mobilizing communities, and administering vaccines to millions of children in high-risk areas. The grassroots approach, combined with the financial resources Rotary has committed to the cause, has contributed significantly to reducing polio cases worldwide. World Polio Day, observed on October 24th each year, is an international day dedicated to raising awareness about the global effort to eradicate polio and to honor the progress made in the fight against the disease. It serves as an opportunity to mobilize support and resources for polio eradication and to remind the world that the goal of a polio-free planet is achievable. World Polio Day events typically involve discussions, seminars, and fundraising activities to emphasize the importance of polio vaccination and to recognize the commitment of organizations like Rotary, which have been working tirelessly to end polio once and for all. Both Rotary Polio Plus and World Polio Day are critical components of the ongoing battle against polio. Rotary's dedication and leadership, combined with the collective global efforts, have led to significant progress in reducing polio cases. Nevertheless, continued commitment and investment are essential to completely eliminate the disease, and these initiatives play a pivotal role in ensuring a polio-free world for future generations. Now, for some of the current numbers, total polio cases combined with wild and circulating vaccine-derived have dropped 97.5%, 35,251 cases in 1988 to 894 confirmed in 2022. One case in the US in 2022 is an unvaccinated 20-year-old. Essentially eradicated everywhere except Afghanistan and Pakistan, where it is still considered endemic. For comparison, in 1988, polio was an endemic in 125 countries, and now it is in only 2. The recommended vaccination coverage to prevent the reintroduction of the virus is 95%. In 2020, in the US only 80% of children have received the 3rd dose of the oral vaccination needed for full immunization, a decline from 87% in 2019. The sooner Rotary and others can eradicate polio worldwide, the less we will have to worry about declining vaccination rates and having consequences. One theory for increasing numbers in Afghanistan and Pakistan is the disruption of vaccination efforts due to COVID. So continued efforts to improve vaccination rates is the best way to finish the task of eradicating polio from this planet. Continued vigilance is required. The last portion of the numbers was given to me by Bobby McCullough. And just some things to think about when we have a speaker and we give them the gift at the end, that donation goes to Polio Plus. In addition, you have the opportunity to make a donation to Polio Plus on your pledge card, which if you haven't turned it in already, please do so. And you can also make donations to it online or put $1 in the red cup. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. So, as I mentioned, I was expecting our assistant district governor today, but he has not made it. So hopefully he'll be with us in October. So we have a service opportunity this week. I know we had several members go to the library on Tuesday. Thank you. I'm not sure any of them are here. If you are, raise a hand. I know we had 4 people there. So as I've mentioned in prior meetings, we are trying to create a service home at the Flint Public Library, and they have fabulous ideas for us. We just got a download of possibilities to share with you when we get together for the club assembly at the end of the month. But this week, we helped the Quilters Club install their exhibit. This is a group of quilters that have been doing work for many, many years together and exhibiting every fall at the library. They've aged, and they're no longer able to do the construction work of getting the frames up, hanging the quilts. So we still have an opportunity tomorrow, 2 to 5 p.m. They could really use help taking the quilts down and disassembling the frames. If you are free and you'd like to serve the community and be a Rotarian in service, just show up and let Joe Martin know. And we've had this going now for a couple of months. Tonight's the night, folks. If you really want to have fun watching people taste bourbon and beer, it's your chance. You have to show up by 5 o'clock at the Flint Institute of Arts, go through their orientation, and then help them with their event. So, health and welfare. I have had a couple of reports. First of all, keep Jim Thompson in your thoughts and prayers. He has COVID and it's hit him pretty hard. So he was actually supposed to be here today to do our inspirational message, and he wasn't able to join us. And I have talked to Stephen, where are you sitting?
Okay.
Right over here. So I'd like him to share about his daughter and then just the Jewish community.
Thank you. I don't know if this is working. I have a big mouth. As some of you may know, my daughter-in-law is Israeli, and my daughter has dual citizenship. In a way, I guess I'm blessed because my daughter-in-law, her mother, and her sister were in Detroit for a wedding this past weekend. My daughter-in-law was scheduled to go back to Israel on Sunday, and we all know why her flight was canceled. My daughter is in the reserves. She has been in constant contact with her unit and her commander. She had been scheduled to go back for her regular reserve duty November 29th. She will do her duty. She's scared. I'm scared. I'm delighted that she's not over there yet. One of the things when people ask what they can do, we tell them just the fact that you call and express support and sympathy makes a real difference. And I have been very touched by messages from people of all faiths and all backgrounds. We all deplore the injuries and the deaths and the brutality on all sides in the Middle East. So thank you very much for your calls and texts and emails. I really appreciate it. In line with that, we know that in 2001, Daniel Pearl, a Wall Street journalist, was beheaded because he was Jewish. And my partner in crime, Michael Thorpe here, and I have been toiling for 11 years on Daniel Pearl World Music Days, using music as a way to bridge gaps between people who can't otherwise talk to each other. On your tables, you'll see the flyers on Thursday, and we're delighted that to be a partner with FIM, who has supported us so much. On Thursday, there will be a free master class, which is part of Daniel Pearl World Music Days in the Anderson Room at 4 p.m. At 7, we are delighted to be a part of the Music Around Town series. And that is a free concert at 7, followed by a nice meet and greet with the musicians and some nice snacks. And then Saturday night will be the actual music festival with a great diversity of musical styles and genres, cheap, only $10 a person. So I hope you'll come out. It's going at the MacArthur Recital Hall. I hope you'll come out so that we can join together and express our unity against senseless violence. And I was very touched by the prayer today. Thank you very much for that.
Anne Marie?
Yes.
Partner in crime to say a couple quick things. A couple quick things. The music is include a Dixieland band. Last year we had ragtime. This year it's Dixieland, which to get everybody going. We have Brazilian groups, the Brazilian jazz, the samba, and the bossa nova. Sheldon Lowe and Hadar are going to come and do a little pop and rock. And then we're all going to gather together with our own styles and do a song called Salam, which we do every year, and everybody does it in their own style. So I'm really excited. Oh, I always forget, I don't need to. The George music, the string trio. They're a trio this year. That's classical young people. So please join us for all the music. Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Do we have guests to welcome? Thought I saw Ashley is still a guest. We hope for not long, but Ashley, you want to stand up? Have you introduced yourself before?
To the people at my table.
Please stand up and tell us
Okay.
about yourself.
Hi, everyone. I've met some of you. I went to the lunch last week at the White Horse and I went to the Walk for Mall. And my name's Ashley County. I'm a in Trenton, but I grew up in Flint. I live in Flint, so I was a previous Rotarian in Midland and in Grand Ledge, and I've been wanting to transfer my membership over to this club, so that's what I'm doing. So thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. We do have some members today on Zoom. I know Ed Fletcher has joined us and Mike Chafee. And there are no guests on Zoom, and we will go forward with our 50-50 raffle. Where is Fred? So,
As usual, Madam President, I'm looking for somebody honest. God,
Jake,
what- yeah. I know.
All right, I'm gonna put money in the pool here. Okay, we got Michigan State.
You're from Michigan.
Then we got guy talk, oh, I'm sorry.
Rob, I got a question for you. Where do squirrels go on vacation?
Where do squirrels go on vacation?
Where do squirrels go on vacation? Beach trees, or if they've got full reservation, they go to the University of Michigan.
find him.
That's a $5. January, that's a $5 fine.
Now, Marty, I would like to, first of all, we have had no association prior to this happening.
No.
Would you carefully stir the pot?
Love that.
Would you draw one ticket? Draw one,
7, 4, 8,
project.
7, 4, 8, 2, 6, 5.
There you
Right.
go. Okay. That was third place.
I'll do that.
Thank you. Now for second place. Do it again. All right.
Take the full stuff.
Oh, just a problem, just one.
Oh, no.
Oh, gee, I had to be in Michigan. We'll take it together. Well, you paid attention in your class, but anyway,
7, 4, 8, 2, 9.
second place. And for the grand prize. Remember, 4,000 of us fought 3 million. When you visit Thermopylae, remember, the Spartans kept their word.
7, 4, 8, 2, 7, 2.
That had to be. Thank you, Carter. You failed again.
Don't read too much. It's not gonna be a lot.
What so many of us have come for and what we are waiting for is our guest
Which is like
speaker.
going down that a Spartan won the table full over here. Just wanted to make sure we were following the
Marie,
12-way
would you please join us to give our introduction?
Do I
to
have
the
to
speaker?
shut Rob up first?
Yeah.
I don't need the mic either. I was a principal. I've got a long, big voice. Anyway, nice and loud. Anyway, as those of you that are Michigan State fans, you all know Sparty, obviously, the mascot. Those of you that are not Michigan State fans still know that every team has got a mascot, and you've got to be familiar with what Sparty looks like. And so what I found out at church last year was that our Jacob Brown, who is goes to the same church that we do, that Father Jim is the pastor of, that one day at the end of a mass, his father comes running up to me. He says, Marie, want to see this video of Jacob, of what he's doing? And he shows me this video and I was shocked. And he says, he couldn't tell anybody for 4 years. Now we can tell. So that was the big thing. And he's going to share that video with you today. But I'm pleased to introduce Jacob Brown, who was for 4 years as a student at Michigan State. He was part of the Sparty mascot program. and graduated from Michigan State in December, and now he is a student at the University of Michigan, Flint. And he is in the doctoral program for physical therapy. All yours.
From a friend here. There we go. Everybody ready?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Jacob. That was the majority, that was just kind of a little summary video that they made for me at the end of my career. It's kind of the graduation present slash thank you. A lot of my favorite events were in that. We ended up doing quite a bit of like community based events like. And there was, I don't know if anybody's familiar with Anthony Yanni, a former Michigan State basketball player who had autism spectrum disorder. And he throws a basketball camp every year that we attend, just to go hang out with the kids, play basketball with them, which is extremely helpful, by the way. And lots of big fundraiser 5Ks. If we have any cyclists, we do the Grand Fondo every year out in the Rapids. I didn't have a ton prepared. I thought it'd be mostly Q&A, if anybody's got it.
Okay, I'll start. So how did you get, how does one become Spartan?
So for me, it actually started at a track meet in high school when I saw my sister's boyfriend post his reveal video for being Spartan. I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. And then I didn't really think about doing it at all. Then my sister kept bugging me through the summer, my freshman year, I saw an ad for tryouts. And I was, all right, I'll check it out, I guess. So I did, you do kind of like an interview, just to make sure you're like serious about it, and you write 1,000 word essay, I think it was, to also make sure you're serious about it. And then do kind of a physical test to make sure that you won't pass out, that kind of thing. And then we have a final tryout, which is like putting a skit together and performing it for them and coming up with stuff on the fly, because that's the majority of what you do. Is just kind of take stuff off the top of your head, but we also need to make sure like whoever's trying out has that creativity to plan things out ahead of time, get prepared, whole 9 yards. Yeah.
How many Sparties are there at any one time?
There's only one.
Only one. So without you, there's no Sparty.
That's just what we tell people, yeah, because it's always the same Sparty.
How many have you?
We had anywhere, I think the most we had was 10 at once, because we had a lot of people coming on and a lot of people graduating at the same time. And then the least we ever had was 5.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen in a week or two when Wolverine moves into Michigan State?
I'm not too sure.
This. But Sparty will be there.
Sparty will be there.
Your costume looks a little different. I think maybe it's changed over the
Yes.
evolved.
Yes.
I met Sparty, gosh, about 10 years ago at a wedding. He smelled so bad.
We've upgraded that big time. Yeah, so
I felt bad for the person.
the way Sparty used to get washed was not sanitary at all. And then our boss started taking Sparty home and washing him about every day. So because we had that I remember the women's basketball coach, I was in an elevator with her once for March Madness. And she goes, Sparty, you smell so good for once. Say thanks, I just washed it.
How much does it weigh?
Roughly 40 pounds.
Oh, my
Wow.
God.
Yeah, I just wanted to, is there any pay involved or is this all volunteer?
It's all volunteer.
A lot of volunteering, that's great.
Yes,
Wow.
it is.
What kind of hours? I was just gonna ask, what's your time commitment? If you are Sparty for 4 years, like how much is that in a week when you're studying? You get,
It very much depends on our week, so they're very good at working around your class schedule for scheduling our appearances and events. I would say during the regular school year, so fall to spring is probably 10 to 12 hours or so on a typical week, and then during the summer it can be, I think the most I ever logged in a week was probably about 32. Depends on the weekend and how many weddings you have to go to.
Throughout the time at Sparty,
Hmm.
is there a particular game or particular time that you felt that this is it? This is just great.
Oh, 2021 versus Michigan, absolutely. Like that,
Sorry, they say
win or lose, had we even lost that game, that was without a doubt the most like fun sporting event I'd ever been to. Like hands down, because we went from 6 a.m. to about 4 o'clock that day, 4 o'clock, 4:30, because we had college game day there, big new kickoff was there, so we had to appear at both of those, and we had to do the walk from the Kellogg Hotel over to the stadium with the team. It was a whole thing. It was the busiest day of my life, and it was so much fun.
How long can you safely be in a 40-pound suit if it's like 80 degrees out?
45 minutes, give or take. We have researchers from our kinesiology department actually doing some studies. Like when I was there, we did kind of heart rate and body weight measurements like before and after a quarter of a football game. So for a quarter of a football game, I remember it was our heart rates in around the zone that like a D1 men's or women's soccer player would be during a half of a game. And then we lose anywhere from 2 to 3 pounds in that 1 quarter of football.
Wow.
That was for like week 1 when it's 90 degrees outside, you know. But we set that 45 time limit and we've been working ever since. I think they're doing body temperature now, which is a whole thing. But because they're working on kind of getting that out to reason with like the NCAA and other visiting or other away teams of like, this is why we need to bring this many people, because this is unsafe if they're in for the full game.
There's a commercial on TV where I think a couple of mascots get together and have a drink after the game. You got to know some of the other mascots
I
in the
have.
school?
I have, I'm the biggest Bucky the Badger fan in the world. Absolutely love him. It's a tie between him and the Oregon Doctor, my all-time favorites, and I've had the chance to be with them plenty of times, but like I got to know like the Wisconsin guys, because we all just went to the Big 10K, so we're all like all on the same hotel floor, so we're all just hanging out the entire weekend, and then we just have this one thing to do on Sundays. We're just like, all right, guess we'll hang out with you.
No, I'm gonna ask this is off of this, is there a certain one that you don't like?
Oh, absolutely. I'll be the Tiger.
From Auburn?
Yep.
Really?
Oh, the worst. Yeah, yeah, they, so everybody's like, you know, we gotta keep our identities a secret, but we don't really do that with other mascots. They still do that with like mascots. They're like, oh, you can't see us with like Aubie's head off or anything like that. We're just like, hey, man, we get it. And they'll come up with like big ploys that like, you just be like, oh dude, where'd Aubie go? After they go into this room for 15 minutes and come out and Aubie's mysteriously gone. Oh, he hopped on his private jet back to the gymnastics meet in Auburn. We're like, all right now.
I love that you answered.
Oh, that was, I'll never forget it.
How are the fans? Like you're closing, you go to Michigan, are they?
It so depends, on truly the single fan. All given times, like honestly, I went to Big House, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. I just had a guy that was kind of yelling at Joe Bocci the entire time, because it was after he got caught juicing or whatever he was doing. So he was just tripping him the whole time, and I just had to listen to him. That was probably the worst part of that, was having to listen to him for 4 quarters. Weirdly enough, the most hostile environment I've ever been in was Indiana. That was crazy.
Because the student section's right behind.
Oh, yeah, I had to walk past their entire student section that's like on field level, and I was like, oh god, that is some horrible things I'm being told right now, but it's kind of fun.
Is there a Mrs. Sparty or Miss Sparty or?
There was a Mrs. She graduated the year before me. Our first
We're
one.
always nice and sprightly when he comes to the big house.
Good, I'm glad.
Did you, what was maybe one of your most memorable or neatest away trips that you got?
I would say Madison Square Garden was very cool for the Jenkins Classic. And then I would say my favorite football was absolutely Washington. I knew nothing about their football field or anything, and like got up and I saw us like, yeah, got up and I saw us right on the water and everything, and it is so loud. It is the loudest place I've ever been in. It was it was very, very fun game. And my parents got to come out and watch me in Seattle, so that was really cool too.
Did you travel with the team?
Depends. So I did the PK 85 out in Portland. We flew out with the team for that. We also flew with them to the Champions Fest in New York, actually. I'd rather fly out my own. Because I don't love leaving straight from the game or at 4 a.m. or whenever they're taking off. So I'd rather go on my own. I like Tom Minnesota, so that's fine.
I noticed you, met Bruce Buckeye, I was seeing.
I did. I like Brutus a lot. They're super nice people for some reason. Like, you think I don't know, you think like Ohio State, Michigan to a Michigan State fan, and then you're like, oh, they're actually a really nice guy. It's great.
What are some of the other events you've gone to, or other things you've done besides going to games?
So weddings are our primary cash cow. There's so much fun though, like that. We traveled down to Florida for them. I did a lot of Traverse City area weddings. Lots of very early Sundays, going to 5 or 10Ks in Detroit and whatever. We do lots of retirement parties. I did a wake once.
Oh, wow.
That was really weird. Lots of retirements, like on campus activities, lots of clubs contact us. We have like a separate club rate, so we're able to be more active on campus while still making money. It's still a business, but
So if you could give, advice to a group who had an interest in being a Sparty, what would your key note be?
I think my biggest note would be to be out of your comfort zone because it's very weird. Like the way it was put to me was the second you put that hat on, you're a different person and you could essentially do whatever you want. And it's very true. So being able to just kind of mess around, not be afraid to kind of push what you're doing, and using that to kind of elevate your creativity a little more. I think that would be the biggest thing.
So it looks like a combination of, sort of stand-up comedy and real athleticism. So what did you do in high school? How did you even think about,
So,
connecting your?
so in high school, I found out so we have my origin story of seeing my sister's fourth on the Sparty. I was at a track meet at that time, and I went around showing all my buddies, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. But so yeah, I ran track and I played football, that kind of thing. I was on our student council, so I had the talkative, more so nature for it. I think that's really one of our bigger things is kind of being a people person to begin with, because it's weirdly a job where you have to manage a lot of talking to people and working with others to figure out solutions to things, so.
But you can't talk.
No, when we have it on, so I'd say we like go to an event and they have a change room there for us. We usually meet with our contact ahead of time and try to figure things out.
What's it like with your roommates while this is going on? Everybody knows.
So I felt really bad because I would just kind of keep disappearing on my roommates, like we'd have all our friends in for like a weekend for a football game or something, and I'd disappear the entire day. I'd just be up before any of them and out of the apartment, and they'd be like, oh, where'd Jacob go? I'd be like, to gym, I'm just thinking of something. So eventually I told my roommates, but I was like, you tell anybody I have to kill you, sorry. So I don't know, they were actually very good about keeping it secret. I ended up living with another Sparty, so thankfully he wasn't telling me,
Jacob, who in your family did you tell? Would you tell? I mean, your folks, your brothers?
oh yeah, right away.
Did you tell grandma and grandpa?
Yeah, so I got the email on Thanksgiving break that I made it, and all my family was home, so I literally just sprinted through the house telling everybody.
You told them all to keep their mouths shut.
Yeah, no, and apparently my sister already knew, because I went barging into her room and told her, she's like, I know. It's like, why do you already know? She's like, Cam told me. What?
You have to miss classes, and if so, it must be that your professors know something, yes?
Yes, so we have a letter that I would personally send it on a need to know basis, like I know I'm gonna be out of this tournament or this away game. It would be a letter basically saying, hey, like this is gonna be an excused absence. Kind of, because they, like, if your professor would accept it, because they'd be like, oh, it's not actually an athletics excuse, and they'd be like, all right, well, I'm still not gonna be here, so. So they'd have us get that and just be like, this is why he's gone. I think I only used it once, I think, Because the rest were just big lecture classes with 300 people, so the professor's not gonna notice that I'm gone.
Just as a follow-up, do you have one of them people, if somebody else questions it, they just make a phone call and say, he's gone?
What do you mean? again?
Well, you were just saying that if you weren't gonna be someplace, you had this letter. You know, I'm assuming somebody has to be informed, don't ask Jacob what's going on. But it's okay.
I never really had that kind of scenario where it was like, oh, somebody's definitely gonna ask where I am,
Yeah.
because I usually, if it was like somebody I was friends with or anything like
Now,
that.
I'm thinking
like,
about like with your class or.
Oh, no, I just give them the letter and
Oh,
say like, yeah, if I'm gone, I'm gone. I'm like, sorry, like I'd give them a heads up, or if I had any deadlines, I'd say, hey, what can we do about this? Or I'm probably gonna turn this in like a week early, because I'm gonna be in Portland for 4 days. That kind of thing.
We're becoming good friends here. Who, because I've had these questions for years.
Fair. A lot of people do.
Who do you audition in front of? Who chooses?
Other parties.
So
So,
are they like current ones? or-
yes, so actually, we did it a bit different when I came on. When I came on, it would be a couple of people from the cheer team and a couple of, like, maybe if there was still a former Sparty in the Lansing area, we'd be like, hey, you know, you wanna come hang out on Sunday morning and tell me if this kid's got it or not. But towards the end, it would just be us and one of our, coordinators would do the judging for us, and we'd go through and make final judgments on. This was great, that skit was terrible, this person seems really reliable, that person's really short. I know.
You going to, judge any?
If they ask me to, absolutely.
Sometimes we see on TV, these frustrated coaches, when I don't want to tackle mascots. Have you had any experience at all?
Not really. I had a player, because we have to walk behind our away bench at home games for football. So occasionally, if we were beating a team pretty bad, like I'd get a player that would get pretty upset. I did have a coach tell me to get out of the way very impolitely once, but nothing too crazy.
It's that Rotary, you gotta tell us if you know.
Last year, the tunnel was big house in Ann Arbor, got a lot of publicity when the teams entered at the same time. When you go into the tunnel at halftime or after the game, where do you go? Do you have a home room or?
We're in the same tunnel, we're just there way beforehand. Like for halftime, yeah, we just like at Spartan Stadium, we just enter through that same tunnel, because we go through the concourse, it's over. What was I gonna say? I don't know, so we like changed up in our tower and stuff, like we changed in the press box tower at Spartan Stadium, so we'd have to like get around there, fight the crowd, all that kind of thing. It's not very secretive. I wish we had one, it'd be really cool. But I remember like at Michigan Stadium, I had to walk like from the tunnel to Chrysler. That was a battle. That was not fun.
So in the course of this long day, how many Sparties are on duty? I mean, if you could only wear the suit for 45 minutes, are you like switching on and out, or are you just taking a break and nobody notices and one person's handling the day?
So it depends. Like for, say, a football game day, we might get in twice, but that would be like on that Michigan game day, when we're going from 6 a.m. to 3 or 3:30, 4:30, that kind of thing. It's like, oh, you get in at 6 o'clock and you go do whatever you're supposed to, and then you get out, you drink 3 Gatorades, you eat a bunch of lunch, and then, you know, 4 or 5 hours later, you're resting, you're ready to go. But like for basketball games, just be like, oh, we have one person that's in charge of like being Sparty's handler. Then we have 2 of us there that are getting into that night. Just gotta like switch us in during half and make sure we get out in an appropriate manner, that kind of thing.
What about like for a wedding or for a retirement party? How many of you go?
Do,
Oh,
unless we have a new person, we're taking them on a ride along.
okay.
Do you have like an ID that says, you know, I'm Sparty?
Oh, that's
Like,
a good
yeah.
idea. I like that idea a lot.
Is there a Sparty Alumni Association? Just a question I was.
Kind of.
I'm sorry.
R1, R2.
Kind of, so we have a Facebook group that we keep relatively active. It's usually criticizing whoever's on squad right now, if that's something that they did. But every 5 years, we have a reunion with everybody. So it's not usually homecoming weekend, it's usually one of those first games of the year, like we'll have a big banquet, like on campus. I'll go watch the game the next day, because it's a lot easier to get recognized at a timeout every 5th year, not every year, you know?
How many of you are there?
78, I believe now.
Wow.
I think the stat still holds true that more people have walked on the moon than have been Sparty, but I think.
So how do you get assigned what game you're going to? Is it like draw or?
Seniority. Well, we did that, and then we kind of have a point system as well, because we had a couple older guys that didn't really do a lot, so that got revised. So we just go through and count the number of events that we've done, because we have it get left over in like the calendar, so. Yeah.
Are there full-time coordinators?
So.
That's all they do?
Yep. It's a really weird job. Like our main scheduler is one we she'll take the suits home and wash them for us and make sure we have all of our snacks in our locker room, that kind of thing. She's our mom, really, but like the vice, so it's run through the Michigan State Alumni Association, and the vice president, it kind of oversees it, and then we have a specific like event coordinator that does the majority of it.
Are the outfits, is it just yours or do you have to share it with other people?
I used to share, and then COVID happened, and actually at the same time we hired that new event coordinator. Once she saw that we were sharing suits without washing them, she was like, "What's wrong with you guys?"
Yeah, no
But I was just like, "No, man, like it's fine."
kidding.
And yeah, so she put a pretty quick end to that.
Right.
Spent a lot of money making sure everybody gets their own.
One more question. Is it too late for Nick to be a Sparty? Because you've got lots of questions.
Here
I don't
maybe.
think I would fit in this.
Nick, what sport did you play for Michigan State?
Football.
Oh, awesome.
Do you have to be a
Go
certain
look
height?
up my stats.
You
I
have to be a
do
certain height
do
to be a
what you
Sparty.
were talking about, you said Indiana, because I always told people that.
Oh, it
Indiana
was awful.
That's the weirdest place.
It's
to
the
play.
weird, it is,
Bench is right behind you.
and you don't expect it at all.
Not at all, it's Indiana.
Do all Sparties have to be a certain height?
We aim for a certain age or height range. I'm technically below it, but I remember being told that like 2 months in, they were like, "Yeah, we weren't gonna take you," and then we saw your skit during tryouts, and that we were like, "We have to take you on." Yes.
So how tall is that? You didn't say how tall.
Oh, so it's like 5'10" to 6'2", I believe. We had a kid actually hit a growth spurt in college, and he ended up being about 6'5". He was a monster. He was terrifying.
Coach Izzo wanted him.
Yeah,
So can you still do a one-handed push-up?
oh, they're not real. It's that. It's that with a
Give it away your
little
secret.
elbow.
Say, crush the mystery.
Yeah, they're not real.
Thank you, Jacob. And as mentioned earlier during Rob's presentation, a donation has been made in your name to Rotary International to support the eradication of polio worldwide. So thank you for being here. I wasn't expecting to hear that you're part of building world peace, all of these NCAA football rivalry mascots getting buddies, buddying up. That's great. And you've certainly created a lot of joy wherever you go. So what a cool story, and thank you for being here. I want to thank the Rotarians who were in service today, but before we do that, I'm going to note that the only people that should have been fined today were Michigan State. I didn't hear any really horrible remarks from the Michigan people, but boy, you guys, we'll have to find a way to get back at you. And we're going to do that on October 19th. So, Nick, Rob, you want to get us excited?
All right, here's my $5.
Not enough.
Do I have to pay $5? No, I put your $5.
Depends on what you have to say.
All right, as is our tradition, usually before the big game, which is next week. Oh, I don't need a mic.
No.
Partner in crime always shared with us. If you have a mic, never give it away. So, as been our tradition, we all know that we're all great sports people, and our effort is to focus on that endeavor. It's going to be a great game next week. I do want to compliment you on the experience that you had at the Big House, where, what was that team that won? All I remember is that the Wolverines provided an opportunity for that team to experience a win in the Big House. So we want to pass that on to you. So forth. And in all fairness, we appreciated the opportunity to allow Michigan State University to win in their own stadium. Don't you think that's only appropriate?
Yeah. Fighting.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Wrap it up. Wrap it up. It's Nick's turn.
make sure Thursday, bring your colors, bring your attire, and we'll have a good time. Nick, you can still slip in.
We may give you an opportunity this year, to see what it's like. No promises.
Okay,
Be there.
all right, be
So
there.
be there and wear your colors, your game colors. And on Thursdays.
On Thursday.
Thursday,
And-
5 o'clock.
Right, thank you, guys.
Very
Okay.
good.
And you have an opportunity to support a small woman-owned business, Queens Provisions. It's brand new, downtown Flint, stimulating our local economy. You can make it around the bricks. There, I've been told there may be charcuterie involved, and there may be a Michigan platter and a Michigan State platter. And we will count colors. There will be a winner, at least at our tailgate. So please join us. I've heard there's plenty of parking there, and I hope you'll come out. Lots of room in this establishment. If you haven't been there, we'll have a fun night. So thank you all for being here today, and thank you, fellow Rotarians, for joining me in the inspirational message, and Marie for the introduction and getting us Sparty today. Joel, where are you? Thank you so much for doing the bulletin notes. That is so helpful. Vic was here early. Thank you, Vic George, for setup and takedown. Is Terry Mormon here? Haven't made Ives contact with him today, so he wasn't here. And Fred, as always, for doing registration, and our Zoom hosts were Ed Fletcher and Mike Chafee. So thank you all. The meeting is adjourned. Go out and please create hope in the world.
Thank you.